Hey guys, so that video clip there just demonstrated my pet peeve. People who use cell phones behind the wheel of cars. Just a dangerous practice, and I don't get how people can still do it. It's not like we are constantly bombarded with reasons why not to, or news stories about people who died from doing so. It makes no sense. I have a bit of an interesting perspective on this issue because I don't drive. I don't even have a license. I ride a bike everywhere, and as a result of this, I'm constantly put in danger by morons using their phones behind the wheels of cars. I remember this one time last summer, I was crossing an intersection on my bike. I was heading west, and this lady who was should have been stopped as she was heading south was drifting into the intersection. She was nearly through the crosswalk and into me when I let out a slew of profanities to her in her direction. Naturally, she had been looking down the whole time using her phone, totally oblivious to the fact that her car was still moving. Now, it's pretty clear that this is a problem, but how does it relate to international law? Well, according to the UN Global Status Report on Road Safety, the leading cause of death for teenagers is road accidents and is the 9th major cause of death worldwide. Now, those numbers are rising, and they're projected to be 5th by 2030, so that's really not that far away. While there's no international law specifically related to distracted drivers or people who drive while using cell phones, there is an international covenant on road safety, which looks at the need for safe roads, regulates things like safety devices, so brakes, lights, for instance, cars have to have, and how roads should be laid out so that if you're driving elsewhere in the world, there is some consistency. This means that the UN is aware of the need for international law related to vehicles. There's no reliable stats on death or injury caused by cell phones on an international level, but there is definitely a need for the international community to look at enacting some sort of legislation to do with using cell phones behind the wheels of cars, as it is the 5th major cause of, or as it could be the 5th major cause of death in the world soon, and cell phone ownership is on the rise, and they don't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. If they're looking for a starting point, they can look to Canadian domestic law for an example. Now, under the Section 92 of the British North America Act 1867, road safety is the jurisdiction of the provinces, and because of an increased number of traffic accidents caused by the use of cell phones, some provinces have begun to impose legislation concerning that. For instance, in Ontario, Section 78.1 of the Highway Traffic Act states, "No person shall drive a motor vehicle on a highway while holding or using a handheld wireless communication device or other prescribed device that is capable of receiving or transmitting telephone communications, electronic data, mail, or text messages." Which means get off your phone. It would be wise for the international community to look at adopting similar laws if they want to reach the goal of the Global Status Report on Road Safety for reducing injury and death. Rarely does anything so important come up in your life that you need to endanger the lives of other people and use your phone behind the wheel. Now, if something does come up, pull over. Ultimately, I'd like to make the suggestion that I think would really deter people from using phones behind the wheel, that we enact a law that says if you do so, you cut the person's thumbs off, because you can't use a phone without your thumbs, and you can't drive without thumbs. Thanks.